This is Morning Juice. Sports, insight, and great storytelling. Starring Bobby Carpenter and Jeff Tito Thitoff. It's time to attack and dominate.
Attack and dominate on a Wednesday. Morning Juice. Bobby, Tito, Bodie with you. Morning Juice sponsored by Riverside Bank in Dublin. 2 full hours here on YouTube, the Fan app, HC3, Twitter, and Facebook. Catch the show from 10 a.m. to noon on 10 TV Plus. Download the podcast anywhere and everywhere you get your audio. Austin Ward joins us at 7:20. Big show lined up for you today. Lots to get into. Good morning, General.
Good morning, sir. How are we doing today?
Doing well. Doing well. You know, decent night's sleep last night. Feeling refreshed. Feeling good. Not a lot of, there's a little bit of sports going on. Nothing big last night, though, but just the normal stuff. Bodie, how are you this morning, my friend?
A little tired, a little frustrated.
Yeah, tough loss.
But doing good, guys. Coaster Bob Day.
It is Coaster Bob Day, yes. Guardians beat the Astros yesterday 8-5. They have the rubber match in that series today in Cleveland at 110. Reds over the Rays 12-6. Season high 12 runs. Ellie De La Cruz had a couple of home runs, 5 ribbies. I thought this stat you threw in there, Bodie, I didn't know this. It was De La Cruz's 6th career multi-homer game.
Yeah.
Passing Pete Rose for the most in Reds history by a switch hitter. That's not a big number.
Well, there's not a lot of switch hitters that have that much power.
Right. I'm just saying like 6, though. It just seemed like there'd be a, there's a lot of switch hitters I thought that I thought the Reds had employed, but I guess I was wrong on that one. They had some power, but they'll go for their 6th row and 3-game sweep in Tampa today at 110. Cavs Raptors game 3 is tomorrow night, and Cavs lead that series 2-0. First round of the NFL draft is tomorrow. We'll talk some of that, and also tomorrow for sure with Albert Breer. We have him on. Browns have a couple of picks there at 6 and 24. Bengals, no first round pick because of their, what I think is, Bob, a very smart trade for Dexter Lawrence. They gave the 10th pick for him.
Do you want to expand on why you think it's a very smart pick, Jeff?
I can. I think
usually when you give like a reason for something, then you back it up with evidence.
My evidence would be that they essentially, and they gave him the $28 million extension onto his contract, so he gets
locked in for 3 years now.
3 years is $70 million, which for a player of his caliber, his talent, his potential. I know he didn't have a great year last year, but I think it's smart that way. And they made some big additions on defense here in the offseason. They were next to last in rushing yards allowed last year. Yards allowed, last in rushing yards allowed, and 30th in points allowed. So they made some big, Jonathan Allen, getting him. That also helps with that, the possibilities there of stopping people. So I think it was a smart move to grab a veteran when you've got Joe Burrow there still in the prime of his career, I guess, but trying to make the efforts to improve the defensive side of the ball because we know they can score. Their big question has just been, can they stop people?
Well, and that's the answer. I mean, they could have drafted somebody.
Right.
I mean, you have options there. Potentially, I think that there would have been a really good defensive player right there. Good chance there would have been. But there's also a chance that there may not have been. And you're getting a guy right now, and you start talking about Joe Burrow, who is, like you said, in the prime of his career. So it makes a lot of sense, make that move. Thing is, you're giving up. When you trade for that, you're like, okay, would Dexter Lawrence be better than the 10th best player in the draft this year? The answer is yes, especially right now. The thing is, what you're giving up is the salary cap and control. But when you had all that money allocated for Hendrickson the year before, I think that's just sitting there now, and your run defense was atrocious last year. A lot of that's always going to be due to just inability inside. It's a deep edge draft, so they could potentially get some edge help later in the draft.
Yep.
And so those are all the reasons why it's a good deal.
I looked at it like the way everything I'd seen, or some of the things I'd seen, I should say, is that it looked like, Caleb Downs could be the guy there at 10. And so, Caleb Downs is going to certainly make a huge impact. Younger guy, like you mentioned, the salary type thing. But I think Lawrence makes a bigger impact on the team this year than even Caleb would do on this team overall. But so I like the fact that the Bengals are swinging for the fences a little bit there, if you will. All right, Bob, ready to make me smarter?
Let's do it.
Time to get smarter. Morning Juice presents Today in History. Here's your professor, Bobby Carpenter.
All right, work your magic.
Oh, boy, it is Wednesday, April 22nd. I'm excited. It's my last full day of class. I taught my last one on Monday. Today's presentations, finals on next Monday. So
Throw a movie on time.
yeah, I don't know if it's movie presentation day. So I still have to be there and have to pay attention, but I don't have to stand up and talk for 80 minutes. So I'm excited about that. And I got almost one whole class of grades done. So that felt good to get that taken care of. 112th day of the year, 253 days remaining in this 2026. This day, 1826, roller skates were patented by R.J. Ryers. 1864, United States Congress passes the Coinage Act, putting "In God We Trust" on all of our currency. This date, 1876, the first National League baseball game is played with the Philadelphia Braves over the Philadelphia Athletics, 6-5. Or played in Philly with the Braves. Played in Philly with the Braves over the Athletics. This date, 1914, Babe Ruth's first professional game as a pitcher. It's a 6-hit, 6-0 win, so pretty solid day for him. 1947, the first NBA championship. Care to know who played in it?
Was it the Boston Celtics?
It was not. It was 47.
Did Fort Wayne play in it?
It was not. It was the Philadelphia Warriors
Okay.
over the Chicago Stags, 4-2 in the 7-game series.
All right.
1969, Mr. Joe Frazier knocks out Dave Zygelwek in the first round for the heavyweight championship of the world.
It's been all Frazier in this round. Champion hit him with a left hook. Zygelwek is stunned. It's all over. Joe Frazier has knocked out Dave Zygelwek in the first round here at Houston, Texas, with a left hook.
Old Smoking Joe Frazier getting it done. This date, 1970, the first Earth Day is celebrated. We'll get to that for the holidays observances here soon. This date, 1978, on their first appearance on SNL, the Blues Brothers, Belushi and Aykroyd, make their debut. Oh, yeah. There you go. The Soul Man. I don't know if you knew that, Bodie.
I do now.
This date, 1985, Prince releases Around the World in a Day.
That's a catchy tune.
It is. Pretty good. One of my top Prince songs. Not the top, but it's in the top 5. 1989, Guns N' Roses releases Patience.
Said sugar, make it slow, and we come together fine. All we need is just a little patience.
All we need is just a little patience, Modes. This date, same day on 1989, Like a Prayer hits number 1 on the U.S. singles Billboard.
When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm down on my knees. I wanna take you there in the midnight hour.
That might be my favorite Madonna song. Some birthdays today, a big day for Shark. Vladimir Lenin was born, the founder of communism in the Soviet Union. Very excited. While Lenin read a book on Marx. That'd be Karl Marx with an X. Born in 1870. The guy who helped finish off the Japanese. They made a great movie about him. Mr. Robert Oppenheimer, born on this date, 1904.
Why don't you have a Nobel Prize? Why aren't you a general? They're making me one for this. Perhaps I'll have the same luck. A Nobel Prize for making a bomb? Alfred Nobel invented dynamite. So how would you proceed? You're talking about turning theory into a practical weapon system Faster than the Nazis.
Who have a 12-month head start.
18.
How could you possibly know that?
Our fast neutron research took 6 months. The man they've undoubtedly put in charge will have made that leap instantly.
Who do you think they put in charge?
Werner Heisenberg. He has the most intuitive understanding of atomic structure I have ever seen.
You know his work.
I know him, just like I know Walter Botha, von Weizsäcker, Diebner. In a straight race, the Germans win. We've got one hope.
Which is?
Anti-Semitism.
That's it. Hitler,
Cillian Murphy, pretty good.
he was unbelievable in that. Well, and he also had that crazy gas he used to use on people that make him believe weird things.
He's here.
I think
The Batman.
Robin Williams could have pulled off that role really well too. In Oppenheimer, I think he could have been good at that. Just something I thought of watching.
Yeah,
I thought
I'm trying. He's for me. It's just like comedy is the first
Right,
thing
yeah.
I think of. But
Yeah.
obviously,
He's
Good Will
done
Hunting.
serious roles.
Yeah.
I think he's probably a little old to have played that. Maybe when he was
maybe
younger.
so. Yeah.
Because that was, I mean, Oppenheimer only lived to 67. A lot of those guys died early. I don't think they fully had an understanding of the radiation and things that they were
Yeah.
dealing with out there.
He also might have been maybe a tad, I'm gonna whore and drink my way to an early death sort of deal.
When you create a weapon of destruction like that, you need a release.
And then you
Brody.
wonder whether or not it was maybe 100% the right thing to do.
Well, it helped us end the war.
No, I
And
know.
it got us ahead of the Russians.
It did, yeah. I'm not,
I mean, that was Hitler's big mistake. They had a lot of smart Jewish scientists. Scoop some of them up, bring them over here to help with us.
Transfer portal.
That was the first transfer portal. Albert Einstein being one of those guys. Turning 89 today. Some people call him the Bodie Wells of the Los Angeles Lakers. Courtside at every game in the Garden, courtside at every game in the Forum, the Staples, now Crypto, Mr. Jack Nicholson.
I'll answer the question.
Yes.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. Every time the
Did you order the code red?
I did the job. Did you order the code red? You're goddamn right I did.
At the end, what did you want to say? I want the truth. Instead of you can't handle the truth, it was supposed to be you already know the truth.
Oh yeah,
And he changed He changed that, and that's really one of the iconic lines, not on just that movie, but in all of cinematography. And that's what's amazing about how good Jack Nicholson was and is. When it comes to that, he's like, you already know the truth. And it was supposed to be
a week in a country.
It was
today.
supposed to be like a calm delivery.
Sweet dreams, son.
Exactly. I'm gonna rip off your head. There's a lot there.
Blinked with the wrong Marine.
Oh, it's good. Oh, goodness. Turning 76 today, Mr. Peter Frampton. Turning 67, Reds manager, former tribesman, Mr. Terry Tito Francona.
No stolen base. Back to Falk. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
How about that?
Reverse of the curse.
Getting that done in a big way. That was a big deal. BFD for them to get that and break that after almost 100 years. Turning 65 today. Man that quarterbacked the New York Giants to Super Bowl 25. Later went on to take the Raiders to the playoffs. Mr. Jeff Hostetler.
They keep on telling me I can't, and, I'm going to the Super Bowl, so.
The Giants' longtime backup quarterback was now New York's most sought-after star, and broadcaster John Madden wanted the next post-game interview.
Bill
Parcells was coming up past me. So I told the guys that were with me, hey, I only do this interview if you hold the buses. And they said, don't worry about it. He's not going to leave. Nobody's going to leave. So I do the interview with Madden. I come up, and I think there were 4 or 5 buses, all of them gone. Madden came up and said, what's wrong? And I told him that Bill took off. And he just started laughing. He said, I'll get you there. We got on his Madden Cruiser, and his driver pulled to the airport. I can remember walking up onto the plane, and Bill was sitting there right away in the first row. And I can remember the look in his face. He was as surprised as could be that I was there. And just the nod of approval that I'd found the way to get there was all I needed.
Just the nod of approval. There you go. Haas getting it done. Super Bowl 25. Oh, goodness. Getting it done in another way. Getting it done on the bed. Former wife, Captain Jack Sparrow, turning 41 today, Miss Amber. Turd or herd?
I think it's with an H.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's a silent T.
Soft H?
Johnny swings at her, and I just see my little sister with her back her back to the staircase, and Johnny swings at her, and I don't even wait for any other, I don't hesitate, I don't wait, I just in my head instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him. In all of my relationship to date with Johnny, I hadn't landed a blow.
How many times have you swung?
Yeah, oh, for what?
I think the big thing of that, I was diving deep into the YouTube comment section because I remember that whole thing happening, but I guess I was locked into it. And I guess Kate Moss, I think she dated Johnny Depp before, and she wanted to go on the stand and testify in his defense.
Yes.
But they weren't allowed to have her as a witness for whatever reason. But once Amber Heard mentioned her by name,
then
it's
bring her
free
in.
game.
Yeah.
You say, like, well, whoops.
So I think they were going to bring a character, or whatever it was. I remember that being the case.
Yeah.
And then she opened it up, and it's like, all right.
And as soon as she said the name, the camera showed Depp's attorneys, and they were like fist bumping.
Yeah.
They just gave a nice, not like quite Tiger Woods,
Right.
but nice little boom. So, whoops.
Whoops.
She needed to learn
Whoopsie-daisy.
from Colonel Jessup.
Exactly. Just keep it between the lines. Oh, goodness. Machine Gun Kelly turning at 36 today. And some passings today. Passing on this date, 1994, the 37th President of the United States. Thitoff is?
Which one is it, 37?
Yeah.
Reagan.
Mr. Richard Nixon.
I have never been a quitter. To leave office before my term is completed is abhorrent to every instinct in my body. But as president, I must put the interests of America first. America needs a full-time president and a full-time Congress. Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow. Vice President Ford will be sworn in as president at that hour in this office.
There you go.
Machine Gun Kelly threw me for a loop.
Why?
Well, because when I hear Machine Gun Kelly, I think of Jim Kelly for the Bills, the quarterback. That
No
was
one
his nickname.
called him that.
Yeah, they did.
I've never once heard anyone call Jim Kelly Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, yeah, I've heard it, yeah. And then
Where? Not on any NFL broadcast.
maybe not in the NFL broadcast. Maybe it could have been a poster I remember seeing of him with the nickname Machine Gun Kelly. But I
That
remember
might
being
be
referred to
true.
Machine Gun Kelly. And then so I said, first, there's no way he's 36. And then I thought, wait, Machine Gun Kelly was also a gangster.
Yes,
years
that's
ago.
accurate.
But I didn't realize there was a rapper and singer
That's
or whatever.
kind
That's
of
what you
where
were
it was
talking to. Yeah,
all based off of. But
yeah.
Machine Gun Kelly as Jim Kelly. I don't know that I've ever heard. I've watched him. I've seen him speak in public before, and no one ever referenced him as that. So that might be a bit of a stretch, a bridge to nowhere, if you will. But passing on this date, 2004, Mr. Pat Tillman.
When I called Pat, he was so excited to be in Arizona, it was like he was a first-round draft choice. I said, look, make it on special teams. You'll be a captain of special teams, I guarantee it. That, Frank. I'll start in 8 games, and I will make you proud of me, Frank. And that was the end of the conversation.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would be your ideal performance number, where you're not over that red line where you get out of control?
8 is what popped into my head.
So when you're on the line during the national anthem, that's about 8?
National anthem's about a 10, actually. I get fired up for that. You know, I have a patriotic bone to me, so I really, emotionally, I actually let myself go for that.
There you go. The Patriot, Mr. Pat Tillman, one of the best. Go ahead.
Forbes magazine did a story on and they show a poster of Jim Kelly in a gangster outfit.
Yeah, I got you, Tito.
Yeah, Machine Gun
There you
Kelly.
go.
I'm not debating that. I'm on a poster, that's one thing. Listening to him refer to that on any type of broadcast, I think that's a...
Says he earned the nickname of the gangster.
There you go. Look at that outfit right there.
Yeah, I know. But
we got to get you in one of those, Thitoff.
Nickname Machine Gun Kelly. Jim was perhaps best known for running Bill's no-huddle offense, which was fast-paced and denied opposing defenses. There's an article here in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
There you go. All right.
That
Listen, I stand corrected. Well done on that, sir. And any of the stuff I'd ever heard, I'd never heard him referred to that. But good for you. Some holidays, observances. It's April Showers Day. It is Earth Day. How about that? In God We Trust Day with the Coinage Act. National Jelly Bean Day as well. And those historical events, your birthdays, your passings, your holidays, observances for this date. Wednesday, April 22nd, the 112th day of the year, 253 days remaining in this 2026.
Well done as always, General. Coming up next, one former NFL coaching great has let his next stop be known. We'll tell you who and where he's going next on Morning Juice.
Hey, y'all. It's the Rocket Roger Clemens here. I spent years on the mound giving everything I had, and now I feel every inning in my knees, back, and shoulders. But I didn't want surgery, and I sure didn't want to be sidelined. That's why I turned to QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics Medical Director Dr. Christie and his team use regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No surgery, no meds, and no downtime.
Whether you're teeing off at the club or chasing the grandkids around, QC Kinetics helps you get back to doing what you love.
Call QC Kinetics now and schedule your free consultation. Natural joint pain relief with real results.
Don't let the pain slow you down. I didn't, and neither should you. My friends at QC Kinetics, they'll take care of you.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turn skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville, or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
I'm Brian Albizu, traffic anchor for 10 TV News this morning. Columbus is quickly becoming my home, and this community has welcomed me with open arms. My mission is simple, to help you get to where you're going quickly and safely. Whether it's helping you beat the slowdown on 270 or giving you detours around major construction, we've got you covered. Because when your morning's on the move, so are we. Make the move to 10 TV News this morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
You know a thing or two about the moments in life that matter. You've seized those moments to embrace joy, accomplish great things, and build meaningful relationships. Is it time now to sit back and reflect on a life well lived? Maybe. Or maybe there's more to be done. Maybe this is the most important moment you've encountered yet. By volunteering with AmeriCorps Seniors, you can seize the moment, lend a hand, and get back more than you give. We connect you to local volunteer organizations with opportunities that fit your schedule and match your interests. Through AmeriCorps Seniors, you can support people in times of need and make your community stronger. You can become a companion to your older neighbors, brightening their days with friendship. You can even become a mentor for young people, serving as a role model and enriching their lives. Are you ready to seize your moment? Visit AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment and get started today.
One man is a national champion, NFL veteran, and local business leader. The other man is Tito. This is Morning Juice.
Sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin.
Here's Bobby and Tito.
Morning Juice, thanks for tuning in with us here today. Join us in the YouTube chat if you'd like. Would love to hear your thoughts on what we're talking about on today's show. According to Athletic Bob, Mike Tomlin is signing a deal with NBC to be back to be on Football Night in America. I know that FNIA, that's what the kids call it, they already let go of Tony Dungy's not going to be back. There will be some other changes as well with how they do that. But Tomlin, though, is apparently going to join Maria Taylor, Jason Garrett, and Devin McCourty on the main set. McCourty is still without a contract, but looks like, at least reports are, or speculations, he will end up joining or rejoining the show, I guess. Mike Florio also part of that. And with Tomlin, there's always been the thought that whenever he decided to step down from coaching or stop coaching, that he would be great in the media. In his 19 years in Pittsburgh, he went 193 and 114. I thought about this last night when I saw this story, Bob.
Okay. Don't think too hard.
Chuck Noll, when he left the Steelers, not that he had like a media career, it wasn't necessarily that, but like he never got back into coaching.
Yeah.
Bill Cowher, same
How old
thing.
was Chuck Noll?
He was old. I don't know what his age was, but he was
Chuck
not
Noll
young.
had been there for a while.
But we've seen, we've seen guys who get old and have success somewhere, then go somewhere else and try to coach again. But Chuck Noll never did that. Cowher never did that.
Cowher wasn't near as old.
Wasn't nearly as old, but yeah, that's my point though. So you had an older guy.
Cowher also had a wife that was sick. And
right.
So he had some personal mitigating factors, which I think stopped him from getting back in. And then once you settle in for 20 years of broadcasting, or settle in after 5 to 7, and you just kind of becomes more comfortable to you, I think, at that point.
Well, I also wonder, Bob, how much of that, like the Cowher decision, and maybe not necessarily the Knowles decision, because I know he's older, but if it'll play into it with Tomlin, though, is the fact that they were so locked in, respectful, and pleased with the organization they worked for that anything else.
I don't know that that's the case with Tomlin.
I think Tomlin, you don't think Tomlin was happy in Pittsburgh all those years?
I didn't say was he happy.
Right.
Happiness has nothing to do with it. You talked about, locked in, respectful. I think there was some frustration with how things were handled. Now, just because he never vented that publicly, the guy resigned.
He resigned. Yes, he resigned. I think that
amidst no health issues,
right.
There wasn't anything underlying. He just resigned.
He resigned.
If you're that happy,
yeah,
why would you quit?
Well, maybe you'd want to take
if
a break
Santiago
from coaching, right?
was to not be touched and your orders were always followed, then why did he need to be transferred off the base?
I wondered though if because of, at least I believe in you.
What you're trying to say is because you're a Pittsburgh fan, and so the Pittsburgh mystique that he's coached there, that he doesn't want to coach anywhere else. And I don't know what use the term, tarnish that legacy, but disrupt it in any way in his ties to Pittsburgh.
Well,
is that what you're trying to articulate?
I'm not articulating. I mean, the Steelers fan thing that doesn't have anything to do with this. What I'm saying is
it might cloud your judgment, but sure.
I think the Steelers are one of the more respected, stable organizations in the NFL.
I don't disagree with that.
And so if you go somewhere else to be a head coach, then you, I believe, have a very good chance of going to an organization or stumbling into an organization not as respected and stable as the Steelers.
I don't think it's a respected thing. I think it's the organizational structure and how it's operated and how it's run and the stability of ownership and just how that all works. But there's other organizations that you would put in that category.
Which ones? Okay. I'm trying to think of which ones you think are as respected for as long as it has been with the Steelers.
Maybe you put San Francisco in that category.
Okay.
You put the Giants, even though they've got some ownership issues and some of that's health related with what's his name?
Wellington.
Wellington's his dad. He's been dead for a while. He owned the Giants when my dad played there.
Okay.
I can't think of his first name. It's not William. Wellington and Tom. There's a bunch of Maras that are there. I can't think of his damn name right now. This is going to kill me.
Machine Gun Mara.
I don't think that's it.
John
Mara. Good job.
Oh, is that it?
It is John Mara.
Okay. Just throwing out a name.
Right. They've had some ownership. You're right. There's been a little bit of that.
There's been a little bit of a dip, but their owners are highly stable. And
Green Bay, right?
I think you put Green Bay in that category, which their ownership structure is very unique. The fact that you just threw out John and that was it, I thought you knew it. As soon as you said it, I was like, there it is. And the tissues are involved in that too, which...
Then they get caught up in the...
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, they did.
He's got to pass some passport stamps to a place you may not wish you had them. I think you could say, obviously, the Giants are in that category. Looking around, I think Denver, although it's transitioned from the Bolins now to the Waltons, I think that you would probably put them in that category with how they've operated over the course of time. There's probably 6 or 7 organizations that you could say are flagship organizations of the NFL. The Chiefs you would probably put in there, where they have stability. Now, that doesn't mean they haven't had periods of turmoil, but a lot of the success of the Steelers has been due to their stability in management and ownership, and the fact that the ownership lets the people do their job, and they do have down seasons. They just don't overreact to them.
Cowher got out of coaching right before, obviously, Tomlin got there, so about 20 years ago. Yeah, about 20 years ago it would have been. Yeah, 19 years for Tomlin, so yeah.
He was still coaching when we got drafted.
Okay. And yes, I know he had the issues. His wife had health issues. I believe she's passed and he's remarried now. Is that correct?
Yeah, she passed away at least probably a decade ago.
Right.
I think she had breast cancer, if I'm not mistaken.
But I'm saying since though he's had plenty of chances and probably his pick of jobs.
Yeah. I think at some point he had his pick, and at some point though, like he had 2 daughters. His wife was sick, and once that time passes, you've been out for so long. The question then becomes, do you want to get back in?
Right.
And sacrifice the life that you've created and the situation you've been a part of. And, that's something that a lot of people look at. And sometimes when everybody kind of ages up, then you say, sure. But I'm sure, I don't know that his daughters are married. I'm guessing he may have grandchildren now. And you start looking at it and it's like, well, do I want to go back into that part of my life? And you watched how the players have changed. He's been in the media, so he's been close to see. He talks to those guys and understands it wouldn't be a subtle creep on how player relationships have changed. It would be more of an abrupt stop because he's been out. Even after 10 years, things have changed so much.
Other news yesterday from the NFL, Mike Vrabel talked about the photos with...
Do you think Mike Tomlin's going to do a good job? If we're going to get into the topic tree of this stuff, do you think Mike Tomlin will do a good job?
I think he'll do a good job. Yeah, I think he's always been very good with the media from what I've seen, and I think he'll be good. I think that it's a good way to start for him as far as being on a studio show on a desk there, the pregame stuff. I think that's good for him, and I think he'd be a great analyst someday if ever wants to expand into that role and be like a game analyst.
You mean
thing.
Call games?
Yeah.
Be a color.
Yeah, be a color guy. Yeah, to be an analyst on games. Yeah, I think it could be. I think he would be good at that. I mean, there's been some guys that have come through, former coaches that, like Bill Walsh was not good as when he did stuff for NBC way back when after the first time he left coaching because then he went back to Stanford after that. Yeah. But yeah, I think Tom will be decent at it. I don't have any reason to think he wouldn't be.
It's interesting because he's never been all that open with the media. He's been very succinct. He's very well spoken. Most coaches are those things, but he's never really been an entertainer. Like Gruden was an entertainer. Parcells is an entertainer. I don't put Mike Tomlin in that category. Like I think Tony Dungy did a good job. I wouldn't have defined him as an entertainer though. And so I'm just curious how they'll utilize him and how that they'll try to play off of that because that's a big piece of it.
You think he coaches again?
What is he, 50-something? I could see him taking a year or two off and getting back in, but if he crosses a threshold where he's out for 5 years, he's done.
He is 54.
Yeah.
Just turned 54 last month.
If he gets to 60, I think he does. Unless when he's staring at 60, if he'll either be in by then or he'll be out.
Yeah. Do you think amongst those kind of blue bloods, if you will, of the NFL that we just mentioned, you think that's like kind of the only places he would go?
I think he would go to a place where I felt like he could win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Make no mistake about it. When he left there, he didn't say anything on the way out the door, but he was not happy with how things were being run.
Oh, yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, their offensive talent's been well documented.
They have not drafted well. And I think that he's like, you keep giving me this bag of crap, and keep not losing ever. We are always we're never bad, but it'd be nice if you could replace a quarterback or we could get some other things. You got to remember, like, he's not the GM, so he's not making all those decisions.
Do you think he would avoid if the best job came open? I mean, heck, let's say a year from now, Cincinnati opens up. You think he would do that in the division?
I don't know that he would want to coach in Cincinnati, not due to the fact it's in the division, just with the ownership structure of how it works.
I was thinking just
like
more
if the Ravens job, I think if the Ravens job in 3 years opened up again, I could see him maybe looking at that.
Okay.
If they still have Lamar and like they've got a really good team that's geared up and they're just underperforming, I could see him taking that job.
Okay.
Tomlin hasn't been, to your point, Bob, he hasn't been the entertaining figure with the media like John Gruden has been, and Parcells, those great examples. I do think, though, he has shown he's media savvy.
Oh, I think he's very savvy with the media. The thing is, you're an entertainer when you're on TV at that point. Like, that's where it goes. It's not standing there, can you deliver sound bites? Can you be a leader of men? Which Mike Tomlin's great at all those things.
Right.
And I'm not saying he's not going to be good at this, but he has never been someone that is playfully engaged back and forth with the media. And you need a little bit of that if you're going to be as good as people would want you to be.
Oh, and it's so quick, too, right? Like these pregame shows, it's like boom, boom, boom. They go around the room. Everybody's got to make a quick point. And that's part of, and even on the game broadcast, too. I mean, to me, that's part of what makes like Aikman so good, is he can explain the play after it happened, but you don't have, 3 minutes to do it.
You've got 30 seconds.
And so I feel like I've never heard Tomlin really speak, I feel like, for the most part.
Right.
He's not been a guy that has kind of been out there saying a lot, per se. So, I'll be interested to see how he does. I don't really watch a bunch of the pregame shows, honestly.
I know what you mean. It's supposed to background noise for me.
Yeah.
So, getting to the Vrabel thing that he addressed about the Russini photos, and this is what he said. I've had some difficult conversations with people like
we don't have the sound in this.
It
was in the DAG.
Oh, was that? I don't know.
Cole played it yesterday. I don't know if he just pulled it up or whatever. It's been out there a lot.
I do, yeah. It's 2 minutes long.
We can play it.
All right, here we go.
First, begin by saying thank you. Thank you for your patience that you've shown in a personal and private matter. For me and obviously everybody involved, I know that that's not easy for you, and I respect that, and I appreciate your efforts in doing so. I understand I could have, addressed you guys sooner, but it was important to me to have a conversation with the players, which I did yesterday, very candidly, as we began our off-season program, which everyone is excited to be a part of. Stacy had mentioned the players' availability, and it was never my intention to have them speak to you or address you before I did. And so I asked him to come today and to talk with you. I also don't want to take away from our, the draft, the weekend of the draft. This is an important time for us, our organization, and the excitement and the joy that those players are going to have that we bring onto our football team. They're starting an amazing journey, one that should be celebrated as we welcome them onto our team. With that being said, I've had some difficult conversations with people that I care about, with my family, the organization, the coaches, the players. Those have been positive and productive. We believe in order to be successful on and off the field, you have to make good decisions. That includes me, that starts with me. We never want our actions to negatively affect the team. We never want to be the cause of a distraction. Those are comments and questions that I've answered for the team and with the team. We'll keep those private and care deeply about this football team, and I'm excited to coach them. And what I can promise you is that my family, this organization, the team, the staff, the coaches, everybody, our fans, most importantly, will get the best version of me going forward. But I wanted to just address this and thank you for your patience in dealing with the private and personal matter.
Somebody's typing away at that keyboard there.
Pounding away. Bit the head off the snake. I appreciate how your effort in this and why I haven't talked about it. Basically saying this is all you're getting about it. You can ask questions. I'm going to defer on them moving forward. And this is where we're at, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore. And, you're the head coach. They can ask, but I think he said at the end, we're on to football.
Yeah, it's been interesting to me, Bob, see how it's been, how the two of them have been, Russini and Vrabel, been kind of, I guess, judged in the media and public a little bit about, like,
Kind of been judged.
Well, Russini's catching a lot of heat over the shop design from The Athletic because of the fact that the questions arise about how did she get some of her stories and scoops in the past. Fair or unfair, that narrative's out there.
Yep.
And it's also, you could spin it, say that, in the situation like someone like Vrabel or anybody in a position like Vrabel who may have allegedly done what allegedly was done, if that also was, a part of how to get your own narrative or your team's narrative, or to get I don't want to say control the media, but control somebody in the media in a certain way and control what's said about you in the media. And it's a bad look, I think, for both sides of the coin.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't think we're going to catch any more information on this. I know I guess the juiciest rumor I heard was that it was Russini's husband hired a private investigator, and that's how these pictures were taken.
I don't think it was him.
You don't think so?
Nope. But I think it was a private investigator.
Yeah.
Just given the fact that you're not allowed to have phones, you're not allowed to have camera phone, like you're taking pictures in any type of the public spaces there at that hotel.
Right.
And you can look at how the pictures were taken. They appeared to be concealed. So it was someone who was a professional that was doing that. Now, who hired them and what was the reason and purpose behind it?
Right.
Well, there's a lot of questions you could ask on that. And I'm not going to sit here and speculate as to everything right now, because I don't know that there's really any benefit in doing that. And I don't think that that's really part of the story at this point. But I think that it was a professional situation that garnered those photos, and just how they were released and how they were sold to the Post. They could have probably garnered more money. I don't think that was the case, because the person was paid to already do it. They just wanted to leak them publicly afterwards. That was the whole goal of everything.
Do you think that after Vrabel's statement about this, and Russini has resigned from The Athletic, does the story die down now?
Yeah. It'd be better for them if they're more of a peak media time, but the NFL draft is going on. So you're going to get that covered for the next week, and then after that, we're on to the next. We're on to football.
Schedule release.
Yeah, you're right. That's a big deal there, Bo. Didn't
think it was that funny, Bob. There's no concern about this in a locker room, is there? Guys,
none of those guys care.
Yeah, okay, that's what I figured. Guys, he's probably not going to be the first person to walk in an NFL locker room that's maybe made some poor decisions.
Different decisions. Different. I'm not going to judge if it's poor or not. Walk a mile in my shoes there, Bodie. But yes, I think that made some different decisions. Yes, I think it's probably
Yeah, he addressed it with his team, and that's what they want to see, is transparency with it. And he was probably a lot more honest with them than he was.
Yeah.
More, I wouldn't say honest, more revealing with them as to some of the details of the situation. Whatever those details might be, it's pure speculation on our part, but whatever those details might be, I'm sure he gave them a little bit more, just so they could have a little more color to the situation.
I don't know if Vrabel wrote that statement himself, or if...
I don't think he wrote it. I think he was just... It didn't look like it. Did you watch the video of him talking?
No, I didn't watch the video. I just listened to it. I've heard the audio from it. It's all. I didn't watch it. But
yeah.
Okay, well, what all I was going to say...
It's out there on the line.
Okay, I'll check the line. But I was going to say that I just thought that it was, if that's just off the cuff,
it appeared to be off the cuff.
Or if he was coached on it at all, or if it's just his words,
there was
whatever.
No coaching on it. Mike Vrabel, he's not listening to anybody coach him on how to deliver something.
What I was going to say was that it was very well done,
crafted,
well constructed.
Speaking of craft,
yes. So it was. Anyway, I think that it was the way that it was presented is about as well as you could present something like that in that kind of a situation. That's all. Be it his words, be it somebody else who helped him with those words, or however it was done, written or off the cuff, whatever, it was very well presented by Vrabel on that one. Coming up next, the United States football program is going to accomplish a feat this upcoming season. that they haven't done since COVID. We'll hit on that next. Quick Hitters, Morning Juice.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring is here, and it's time to hit the road with something new from Germain Toyota. Right now, get into a rugged 2026 Toyota Tundra with just 2.99% financing for up to 72 months. Power, performance, and capability ready for every spring adventure. Or cruise into the season with a 2026 Tacoma SR5 for only $299 a month for 36 months and $39.99 due at signing. Fresh deals, fresh rides. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road or online at germaintoyota.net.
Your child is sick. With those 4 words, the innocence and joy of childhood disappears. But Starlight has taught us 4 other words that make all the difference. The power of play. Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to hospitals across the country. Learn more at starlight.org.
I'm Meredith Garfalo, meteorologist at 10 TV News This Morning, and I'm an Ohio girl. I love golf, aerospace, and all things Ohio sports. For nearly 20 years, I've studied the patterns that shape our days, from winter wonders on the south side to dangerous storms along the I-71 corridor. When the weather changes, you'll be the first to know, because you need a forecast that moves as fast as you do. Make the move to 10 TV News This Morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
Bobby Carpenter here with the Riverside Bank of Dublin Sports Money Report. Baseball is a business built on patience. From long seasons to long-term contracts, the smartest organizations know success isn't just about one big swing. It's about consistency, development, and managing resources over time. Here's Chuck Moore, CEO, and Travis Sanders, president of Riverside Bank of Dublin, on how they help clients sustain success over time.
Winning teams invest in their farm systems, manage payroll wisely, and play the percentages. That same approach applies to your finances. At Riverside Bank of Dublin, we focus on steady growth and smart decision-making, and we invest in our people.
That's right, Travis. Riverside Bank helps create financial plans designed to last, not just for this season, but for years to come. Because whether it's building a championship roster or building financial security, fundamentals always win. Riverside Bank of Dublin, trusted, local, and committed to helping you succeed. Look for our new branch location in Bridge Park in Dublin.
Tune in every day for the Riverside Bank of Dublin Sports Money Report. Visit their office at 6300 France Road in Dublin or online at riverside.bank.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Wildlife around the globe needs help. And when you help protect them, you become a friend of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.
Thank you for being a friend.
Travel down the road and back again.
Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
Thank you for helping protect wildlife around the globe. Without you, there's no them. Learn more at sdzwa.org/friend.
Tito has had 2 wives. They've both been named Heather. If you know someone named Heather, please warn her. This is Morning Juice.
All right, Morning Juice. Bodie, do your thing.
Morning Juice presents Quick Hitters.
All right, fellas, happy Thursday. Or Thursday, no, today's Wednesday, I'm sorry. Middle of the week.
Jump in the day.
Almost. I'm just so excited for the draft, Bob. Trying to jump ahead a day here. All right, guys, let's get crazy. How about one bold prediction for each team in the Big Ten Conference for this upcoming football season? This one comes from Tom Fernelli of CBS Sports, and his bold prediction for the Buckeyes, they're going to win the conference championship game. He writes, did you know Ohio State hasn't won the Big Ten since 2020?
Crazy.
I know, and he jokes. He says, remember, nothing that actually happened in 2020 really counts. So technically, Ohio State hasn't won the Big Ten since 2019. That's a pretty long drought for a program that's won a national championship and had multi-playoff appearances in that time. Well, Ryan Day is finally going to get over the hump this year. Bobby, that's probably not the most bold prediction you can make for Ohio State this year, but them getting back to Indy with that schedule will be tough, and it is hard to believe that they haven't won the Big Ten championship since that COVID season when Trey Sermon was running wild over Northwestern.
It's crazy because you look at the run that they were on. I think they won 4 straight prior to that, and
sounds right.
Yeah, they won 4 straight prior to that. Then I think Michigan won 3 in a row, and then Oregon won, then Indiana won, and now they're back.
And then hell froze over.
Yep, and hell froze over, and now they're back to present day of trying to figure this thing out. And so it's a little bit crazy. I'm just seeing that, and the thought that Ohio State hasn't won one in 5 years, which between 2002 and 2020, it feels like they probably I have to go back and look. I bet they won. And it was different too because until the Big Ten championship game, there was co-champions. But I bet they won between 02 and 20. I bet they won 12 or had a share of 12 of those 18 championships.
02 and 20.
Because they won in 02.
Okay, so
won in 05.
Yep. 02, 05, 6, 7, 8, 9. Somebody keep count for me here.
10.
That's 6. And then not till 14.
Oh, okay, so 14's 7.
2017, 18, 19, and 20.
10. I was too shy.
There,
so in 18 years, they won 10 of them. And then they haven't won one in 5.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild.
And that's
one of the years they weren't eligible to play.
That's what I was
going to
say, too, because I was like, man, they did. This is the second time in that
went
time
12 and
span
0.
they've had a 5-year gap since winning one. But obviously the 2012 season when 8-6 Wisconsin, who went 4-4 in the conference, won it because they smoked Nebraska.
And two of those other
Leaders
years, they played for it and lost.
Yeah.
So out of 18 seasons, they could only win 17. And 2 of the other years, they got there and lost. In pretty close games. Like if you remember the Michigan State game in 13.
Yeah.
That's where they had Braxton run it. People were arguing it should have been
Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde. And then obviously the missed field goal from
last year,
21 yards or whatever the heck it was. I mean, the chip shot at the end. So yes, there was they had dominance, and now to not have won it in 5 is crazy. And last year was the first year they played for it in the last 5 years.
The fact they haven't won it in so long, but it also since the last time they won it, and even going back further, I should say that into those dominant years that you guys were referencing there. It meant a lot more, I think. Not to say it doesn't mean anything now, but it meant more.
Yeah.
Because it was much more attainable than playing for the national championship. As evidenced by the fact that how many times Ohio State played for the national championship over that time. You mentioned all those Big Ten titles. They didn't play for the national championship in a bunch of those years. But now we've got the expanded playoff, and the conference expanded the way they have. It feels to me like it, and I'm not saying that Ohio State and Ryan Day don't want to win it, the Big Ten championship. Obviously, that's one of their goals, but it's not as critical now to define a successful season, I think, as it would have been 10, 12, 15 years ago, Bob.
Well, you think about this. They played for a national championship in 02, 06, 07, 14. They made the playoff in 16, then made it again in 20. I mean, or 19 and 20. Yeah. So they made 7 of them. A couple of those years they didn't even win the Big Ten that they played for it. So, yeah, there was I think it used to mean more. Over under 2.5 Big Ten championships Ohio State will win before the Big Ten championship game goes away.
I would say under.
I would say under also, yeah.
I think between the other elites in the Big Ten now, between Oregon, I guess Indiana, because you got to mention them now, and then the combination of it just, I mean, how many more years are we even talking about?
Well, that's the question.
Game 5 or 6. Like
that's what it feels like.
Is Ohio State going to win half of the next 6?
That was why I kind of picked that number. Are they going to win more or half of what it's going to be? Because it doesn't feel like after 2030, 2031, like they're going to start winding that thing down.
Yeah. I mean, even this year alone, let's say they win the Texas game, but they could still drop 2 conference games and not play for it.
Yeah.
And that's just still a 10-2, a team that's absolutely going to the playoff, probably hosting a home game, and it's not a bad season, but don't think you'd be playing in Indianapolis on the first weekend in December.
I'm going to say this, Bob, out loud.
Just be careful.
I'm trying.
Tread lightly here.
It's almost more important to get there than it is to win it.
Really?
Because what I'm saying is the fact that winning it, like I say, it could define your season. It could define whether you're in that top 4, when they had the 14 playoff, or define whether you're in the BCS, all that kind of, it could have really defined it then winning it. And now almost just the fact if you just get there with how tough the conference is now, because it is much tougher. And I know that for a long time it wasn't the Big Ten and the Little Eight.
They didn't get there 2 years ago.
Right. But I'm just saying that the conference is so much more difficult now, top to bottom.
What's 18 teams?
Right. That's exactly my point. Yeah, it's not the Big Two and Little 16 either. There's, there's legitimate. It was an Ohio State Michigan game. Came down to it every year. Those two were going to play. The winner was going to be the Big Ten champion. The winner of that goes to the Rose Bowl. And so it's different now. I don't think it's as critical to win it now. It's a great showing if you can get there, but winning or losing, it's just the Big Ten championship. It's probably now third or fourth on the list of most important things during the season.
Give me the other three outside of winning the national championship.
No, I'd say winning one. Winning national championship's one.
Beating Michigan.
Beating Michigan, another one there.
Okay, so what's the next two?
I would say that, let me see, getting to the, I would say that's why I said I think getting to it's more important than winning it. It's probably the third or fourth most important thing then, Bob, as far as on the season, what your accomplishments need to be. Because you can still do the other things without winning the Big Ten championship, and it didn't used to be that way. So that's what I'm saying. It's not as important. It's not as front of mind for me as like, oh my gosh, if they don't do this, it's not a successful season. You know?
Yeah.
Getting to the playoffs is more important. Okay, winning the national championship is one, I would say. Beating Michigan, I'd say getting to the playoffs is two. Beating Michigan, three. Winning the Big Ten championship, four. That's how I'd put it.
Okay. I don't disagree with that.
And it's kind of weird, too, because there is a little bit of a feel, though, that it's like you're just kind of okay not even playing in it.
Right.
You know, like with the structure of things currently.
Yes.
Like, you're kind of okay not playing in it, and then you just get a home playoff game if you're still at least good enough to do that, like they did 2 years ago.
Right.
And it's like, hey, we'll just take our quote-unquote bye week at that point, get a home playoff game, which you feel pretty good about winning. And then obviously, I mean, that Tennessee game was the precursor to what happened, right?
Yeah.
Like, we were firing everybody and cutting everybody for 3 weeks between the Michigan loss and the Tennessee game.
We's a strong word, but yes, I would just say,
some people.
Yeah, you don't mean everybody in this room.
Correct.
Right, yes. But
probably nobody in this room,
nobody in this room, maybe among these four walls, if you would.
But once, that Tennessee game, like, they found their rhythm and never looked back.
Coming up next, which Buckeyes are we betting on at the next level? And could Joe Burrow really be on his way out of Cincinnati? We'll do that next. Morning Juice.
How's Tommy doing now?
Much better.
You said it was asthma?
Yeah, he started with this cough and then he was wheezing.
That's terrifying.
Doctor said hidden triggers can make it worse. Things like dust, mold, and even pests.
Pests?
Yeah, droppings and allergens from cockroaches and rodents can seriously impact children with asthma or allergies.
I had no idea.
We're making sure our home stays pest-free.
Don't let pests put your family's health at risk. Visit pestworld.org to learn more. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
I'm Tracy Townsend, anchor at 10 TV News This Morning. This community is my home, and it means everything to me. I care deeply about the stories we bring you each day, especially the ones that truly impact your life, from women's health and advocacy to the decisions happening at the State House. My goal is simple: help you feel informed and connected, because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to 10 TV News This Morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad, and I feel very proud to be a son.
That was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
and so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Proud to be your go-to sports addiction.
WBNS, WBNS FM, HD3 Columbus.
The Fan 3, Ohio sports destination. One man is a national champion, NFL veteran, and local business leader. The other man is Tito. This is Morning Juice.
Sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin.
Here's Bobby and Tito.
That's your poll question right there, Bodie. Not the one we talked about with the mics off, hopefully. I'm talking about the other one. What are you more excited about, the NFL draft or schedule release day? I contend schedule release day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's terrible. Are you kidding me?
Strongly leaning to the draft on that one.
The Steelers have 12 draft picks.
Decent amount.
They won't make all 12. I think they'll trade in one for a future asset or two. They'll have like 10 or 11 picks when it's all said and done. But I'll get to see 17 games when they're played. That's what I'm excited about, Bob. Seeing the, and also seeing,
sure you'll watch them all?
Every Steelers game? I won't watch them all start to finish, no. But 'cause I'll do some red zone stuff in there. But getting to see what the Monday night games are, the Thanksgiving games, the Christmas Day games.
I could get more on board with the schedule release if we didn't know the opponents. But the fact that we already know home and away kind of...
That's fair, yeah. I know what you mean, yeah. The fact it's all predetermined.
Maybe they should stop doing that.
No, they have to be able to leak that stuff out slowly. Everybody gets excited about it.
Yeah.
The 11 Warriors went through with the draft being secondary as far as I'm concerned in the offseason, but secondary to me with the draft starting tomorrow night. Although I don't know what day of the week is now. Bobby starts with saying it's Tuesday. You said it was Thursday last segment. You guys are messing with me on purpose, I think. I think it's all by design. 11 Warriors went through and put where they thought the Buckeyes would go in the draft. Dan Hope put this together for them. He's got Orville Reese going number 2 to the Jets. Caleb Downs, number 5 to the Giants. Sonny Styles, number 6 to the Cowboys by making a trade there. Carnell Tate, number 8 to New Orleans. Let's take Sonny Styles. That pick right there, Bob, is contingent on a trade being made, which could very well happen. But out of the other ones then,
I think Arvell probably goes 3, either to Arizona or someone else. I think the Jets take David Bailey. They could take Arvell.
Right.
I could see Sonny going to the Giants.
Yep.
Who is 6? Browns to be traded now. I don't think the Browns would take him. I could see the Browns taking Carnell, assuming he's there. But I do think the Browns probably ideally would like to trade back.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints have always loved drafting Buckeyes. And so I think
Buckeye wide receivers even.
Well,
Tate would go there, right? I mean,
yeah, Thomas
Olave.
Okay, they've had Pete Warner. Will Smith. I could rattle off Jeff Ireland. The amount of guys that he has drafted there from Ohio State, Marshawn Lattimore, Von Bell. I'd have to go through and look at everyone else. There's probably 3 or 4 other guys that they've had there. So, and Chris Olave, depends. He's coming into a contract year, so they'll have to decide where they want to pay him. So you could be drafting, a guy that plays with him for a year, then his replacement. They're older on defense. They need to get younger there. I know that I feel pretty confident that if there's an Ohio State player there, the Saints will take them, and of the top 4 guys.
So you think if they're you're saying 8.
I could see the Giants taking Sonny. I could also see them taking Carnell.
Right.
I could see them taking at 10. I don't know if they would take Downs at 5. I think that they would take Caleb probably at 10.
Yeah, I think 10 he would. I don't think he gets past the Giants at 10. And I think the more I look at it, with the Giants' 2 picks at 5 and 10, they will take 2 Buckeyes in some way. Like I could see Styles and then Downs. I could see Tate and then Downs. But I don't think Downs gets past 10. with the Giants?
I think that's probably safe to say. Could he slip to a little further? Maybe. I think he's the one that has the greatest slip ability if you look at it.
Downs, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That felt like a Stephen A. Smith word you just tried to use there, Bob, and
I
that's
think it's
okay.
a made-up word.
It's also be a Stephen A. Smith, yes. I'm just saying. I think
all words are made up, Bob.
That's also fair. The Dolphins at 11 then, Cowboys as it stands right now at 12, Rams at 13.
I do think Dallas is a floor for a couple of those defensive guys.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, I would be shocked if Styles or Downs
If they're still there, I think, yes. I think
they
they
might
would
have a stroke, too.
They would gobble
yes.
out of
Those two
excitement.
things aren't related. If they passed.
Oh, if they passed on them.
I'll be happy if they just take him. No stroke needed on that one.
Caden McDonald, the 11 Warriors, has him going number 25 overall to the Bears.
See that.
I think 25's, at least from what I've seen from other mock drafts and whatnot, Bob, 25 is about the highest I'm seeing him go. And like I think I said yesterday, I've seen it in other ones where it's like in the low 40s or low to mid 40s kind of thing. But that's where I think 25 would be a nice spot for him to go to Chicago. And that's the thing where it'd be a good fit, I believe, for them because of just the way the organization is going. And, he is a great run stopper, and I think that's what the Bears need to focus on for the draft coming up for the upcoming season. Davis Igbenogson, round 3, number 77 to Tampa Bay.
I could see that.
I could see that one also. Max Clare, round 3, number 83 to the Panthers.
You start getting into like this middle of the second, third round, then it's just more like when guys come off the board because there's a lot of trades that start happening then because it's not near as expensive to move up. So teams will just jump 2 spots to get ahead of somebody else, and they're going to give up a 5th-round pick or a 6th-round pick. So if you're like the Steelers and you have a lot of those, it's like, all right, we can assuredly get the guy that we like that we thought would have been gone 10 spots ago. They're still here. Boom, let's jump up 2 spots and go get them. But I think IGB will go somewhere probably end of second to middle of third. Max Clare seems like a guy who's pretty entrenched in the third. And if that would be the case, I mean, you would have then 7 guys in the top 3 rounds as it would stand at that point.
Igbenogson in the write-up here by Hope says his well-documented penalty issues will likely keep him out of the first 2 rounds of draft, but his NFL starter upside, if he can continue improving his technique, should get him drafted in round 3. From your perspective, Bob, obviously he was called for some handsy penalties at Ohio State. So was I, but I was a student, not an athlete. But how much different, or is the game reffed that much differently when it comes to that type of penalty, NFL to college?
You know how many penalties he had this year?
I don't think he had many this year. He only had a couple probably, right?
Yeah. It was significantly better this year than last year.
Absolutely was, no doubt. But
so that's an important note to bring up because that's a trend of someone who had improved. Like the guys had an issue.
Yep.
Here's something no different than a running back fumbling.
Mm-hmm.
They may be fumbled a lot this year. The next year, they did not fumble as much.
Right.
And so, boom, they've been improving on that. That's why I think he could potentially be at the end of the second round, just because of his length, his linear speed. People love his competitive nature, how aggressive he is. And then he take all that, and he's made some really big plays. You get his interception against Penn State last in 2024. Unbelievable play in the corner of the end zone there. And what he's done is he's done a lot of those good things still, but this year you didn't notice him as a penalty machine.
Right. Yeah, no doubt about it, Bob. I'm not disputing the fact that he got much better this year. I was just wondering from the way it's officiated, is there, if you know, there's a huge difference the way it's officiated at the NFL level versus the college level. They call it tighter in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay. You're right, though. He did get much, much better this year. Joe Burrow, by the way, and this was Dan Patrick, something he said about Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah, this was very interesting.
This is what Dan Patrick said. I was told Joe Burrow is the one calling the shots in Cincinnati. From what I'm told, Joe Burrow said to management, "You got to do something defensively or I'm out of here." I was told this morning, this must have been yesterday, I guess, by a source who said that Joe has given them an ultimatum. Actually, from Mondays when he said this, that Joe has given them an ultimatum. And as much of a great story it's been, Ohio kid with the Bengals, how excited he was, #1 pick, and they had great success there early on, the team did, by going to a Super Bowl. I could see Burrow, yes, being very frustrated by the fact that
he's been vocal out in the media.
He has been, yes. He was also vocal about making sure, hey, get these guys signed. He wanted to keep Higgins and Chase. We know that. But yes, also within the media, and I know that there's only so much you can do. You can't go Dodgers style and spend, $1 billion on a roster.
No, but they don't. They're cheap with how they operate.
They are.
And that's what Joe has been upset with.
Right. But I think, Bob, these changes they made in the offseason, though, that's got to be – and that's why I was applauding the Bengals for it earlier for some of the choices they've made as far as to really try to beef up the defense there. We know they've got the offense
the worst run defense in the NFL.
Right. Yeah, the worst run defense in the NFL, Bob. That's right. They were last rush yards allowed.
32nd.
Yes, they were
nowhere to go but up.
30th in points allowed.
Well,
sounds good.
So not the worst.
Next to last, 31st in total yards allowed per game.
Perfect.
So
means their pass defense is a little better.
And I guess I'm also I applaud because like I said they're taking a big risk in the trade by giving the number 10 pick.
You just said you liked it an hour ago.
I do like it, Bob. I didn't say I didn't like it.
How is it a big risk?
It's a big swing because you got a guy that you're going to pay. It's a reasonable contract. I'm just saying you're giving up a rookie, and I agree with the move. I love the fact they're taking a risk. I'm applauding them for taking a risk. I think both teams benefit from this trade. I think it's a smart trade for the Giants. And I think ultimately it's a smart trade for the Bengals. But right now, though, the fact you're giving up the number 10 pick, a guy in a rookie contract, for a veteran with 3 years left on his deal, had a less than stellar year last year than he did the year before. But
it's all right. He's still a young player.
He is. I think I just think it's a good look for the Bengals too. I have to believe that it's well received by Joe Burrow that they are taking this chance. They're taking this risk right now by instead of drafting somebody who may have a lot of potential, who has a lot of potential, number 10, I would say, and having on a cheap contract, the Bengals saying, you know what, Joe, we're listening to you. We're going to go balls to the wall on this one, and we're going to take a big swing.
To the wall.
To the windows.
Yes, to the walls.
To the wall.
All right, let's see here. Who, if I can get this pulled up. So let's see who the Bengals have drafted here in the last couple of years. Shamar Stewart.
Yep.
Highly talented guy. Defensive tackle. Not all that great. Let's take a look at 25. Who did they take that year? That was 25. Take a look at 24. Who did they take 2 years ago? Amarius Mims, tackle out of Georgia. How's he been?
I don't think great.
Let's say less than stellar.
Yep, that's fair.
They took him 18 overall.
Okay.
Also took Chris Jenkins out of Michigan, a defensive tackle, who should have been. I don't know how he's
the guy who played at Villanova.
Yeah, he made a shot and then switched over. Actually, a weird switch from guard to offensive lineman.
Yes.
Basketball guard to offensive lineman, yes.
So, yeah, he
what's his war?
What's his war? I don't know that he has played to the level that you would have hoped. He's a D lineman. Their rush defense is last.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not that I'm not going to say he's been terrible, but you're part of a unit that hasn't been great. Jermaine Burton, you drafted in the 3rd round, hasn't really made a huge impact as of yet. Let's look at 2023. Miles Murphy, defensive lineman. How many defensive linemen have they drafted in the first round?
There's been a few there, Bob. That's
how
for sure.
have they turned out?
Not great.
Okay, so which do you think is riskier? Drafting a guy who's been a 3-time Pro Bowler, versus somebody who is a highly rated prospect out of college, but the reality is they haven't been able to land on any of these.
They have certainly missed on those draft picks, but that doesn't mean you still don't make them. Like Caleb Downs, if he were there at 10.
Well, yeah, what are you going to do? Just give the pick away? You got to pick somebody.
I know that's my point, Bob.
Or you could trade the pick and get more of a known commodity, which that's Joe Burrow is looking at this saying, okay, in that 2023 draft, all right, you got Jordan Battle in there. You got Chase Brown, who he's been a player for you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you start looking around at some of these other guys and how good they've been. You're like, not exactly stellar.
Do you know the last time a top 10 draft pick was traded for a non-quarterback pre-draft?
Pre-draft. Okay, that's a.
Because I think this pick I'm thinking about was made pre-draft. Yeah, I think it was.
I'm not sure.
Randy Moss, when he got traded, I believe, to the Raiders from the Patriots. I'm not mistaken on that. Is that right? The Raiders, Patriots, or the?
They didn't give up the Patriots didn't give up a top 10 pick for him.
I think it was
the
maybe
Raiders,
Minnesota to
the Raiders. Is that what it was?
That may have been it.
Yeah.
I think it was like the 7th pick overall.
That would make sense. When he went to New England, it was for like
it was like
a fourth.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, you're right.
That was
yeah.
like a 4th rounder.
Yes.
Bag of balls.
Minnesota traded Randy Moss for the number 7 overall pick, is what it says here. What am I looking at here? Anyway, what I'm saying is, Bob, anytime, so not very often does a top 10 pick get traded for a non-quarterback.
Because you're thinking that it's going to be a great player at that point. You're getting Randy Moss, who, by the way, had many Hall of Fame seasons after that.
Right.
Just none with the Raiders.
Right. No doubt. So that's why I'm saying there's a bit of a risk there. And also the fact that I believe Caleb Downs is going to be fantastic in the NFL.
How was there a risk? The Randy Moss was great after that. He just didn't want to play.
Yes.
He just didn't want to play for Oakland.
Right.
I think that was more of an indictment on Oakland than Randy Moss.
How much does a guy like Burrow appreciate that, though? Because let's be honest, we love college football. We watch it a lot. We know.
Oh, he's watching. I guarantee you, Joe Burrow watches college football.
Okay, and
most
maybe
NFL guys do, especially like if you went to like maybe a smaller school or something where like it isn't as big. You went to a big time college football program, and Joe went to 2 of them.
Yeah,
like you're watching that on Saturday.
Okay,
just
that's
to
fair.
see who's out there, see what people are doing.
Okay, that was going to be my question because obviously, and like even if you remove the Ohio State aspect of it, we know how good Caleb Downs is, and we expect him to be. I wasn't sure if NFL players are like, well, he might be great, but I know Dexter Lawrence is good.
There is truth with that.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, do you trust your organization? Here's the thing: is Caleb Downs going to be there at 10? You hope.
Yeah, and that's I was just throwing out a name, but
like, yeah, that's my point. Like, so you may think like, okay, these 3 or 4 guys are really good.
Yeah.
Well, if those guys aren't there, then who do we take?
Yeah.
And you watch the clown show go around and pick somebody else, and you're like, hey, this guy was really talented.
Nailed a 1st-round pick in 3 years.
Shamar Stewart had like 4 sacks in his 3 years at A&M. Like, well, he's really talented, but does he produce at all? We know Dexter Lawrence has produced.
It's kind of, have you guys ever seen the Family Guy scene where it's like they try to give Peter a mystery box and he's like, you can have that or a boat. And he's like, give me the mystery box. And his wife's like, well, what about the boat? And he's like, well, the boat's a boat, but the mystery box can be anything. It could be a boat. Just
in the box, but maybe not.
Yeah.
On March 2nd, 2005, Minnesota sent Moss to the Raiders, and they got Napoleon Harris and a couple of picks, one of them being number 7 overall. Minnesota, of course, then went and used that pick on Troy Williamson, which did not quite work out that well for them.
Know who that is.
Yeah, he was
from South Carolina.
I believe Troy Williamson was. Yeah, South Carolina. Wasn't he the one who came in like when he's super fast? Wasn't he the one who had like the?
They thought they could get.
That's. We're
gonna replace Randy with Randy.
Yes,
a younger Randy.
Hey,
right. They got
you
Danny
have a
Moss.
boat or the mystery box.
Right.
Well, the boat's a boat, but the box can be anything. That's a who was their old owner who passed there for the Raiders?
Oh,
Davis?
Yes.
Al Davis.
Al Davis.
That should be done. Yeah.
I had Art in my head. I couldn't get that out of my head.
Well,
but
because Mark
speed.
is the current owner.
Art, Al. But that was Al Davis's thing, right? It's like, oh, he's fast.
If you're big and fast with the
we'll figure
Raiders,
out the rest.
Yeah. Can you play football? Maybe. Doesn't matter.
But he's fast.
Albert Breer said that he was talking to a GM, and that GM thought that Dexter Lawrence has more talent than anybody in the draft.
And that's what they look at it. They're like, hey, can you get 5 years out of him?
Right.
I think so. You're going to get at least 3. Now, he's going to cost a lot more, but you're paying more for a known quantity.
Right.
As opposed to potential. And one of my coaches, it's like wishing. One of my coaches would tell me, he's like, wish in one hand and crap in the other and see which one fills up first.
Which coach said that, Bob?
No. Keep that between us, between me.
Like that's not a controversial statement.
Listen, man, I'm not going to give away the farm.
All right.
I also think too, as much as somebody like Burrow would want this, and the other offensive guys probably like this move. I mean, if you're like Zach Taylor and Duke Tobin, like, you might be out of a job 12 months, 9 months from now, I guess.
Yeah.
So, like, you probably like this move, too, and are pushing for it because you need to go win the division this year. A division that, by the way, is kind of resetting a little bit, if you will. You know, you got new coaches in Pittsburgh and Cleveland, and the Ravens are going to expect to be good, but even they still have a new coach as well.
Coming up next, Austin Ward of Letterman Row and also The Beat with Austin and Berm joins us. We'll talk Ohio State football. That's next. Morning Juice.
Hey, it's Austin Ward with an opportunity again this year. In case you haven't taken advantage of it in the past, take this chance to drop 40 by the 4th with Awaken 180. It sounds a little different when you put a real goal to it, doesn't it? To make it easier, Awaken 180 has launched Reclaim by Awaken 180. Reclaim is a simple 10-week plan designed to help you reach your weight and health goals. A beginning, an end, and a real finish line. It's not eventually. Makes sense, right? I dropped my 45 pounds in 10 weeks and 5 more in free maintenance. Reclaim by Awaken 180 comes at the perfect time for you to reach your 40 pounds by the 4th and then keep it off with free support for life. Any medication, diet, or workout plan will say you'll see results. But how many say in 10 weeks you'll be a new version of yourself, thanking the old you, the one that made the call to Awaken 180. 40 by the 4th, and keep it off, medication-free. Do what Beamer did, Berm did, and I did. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
I'm Brianna Albizu, traffic anchor for 10 TV News this morning. Columbus is quickly becoming my home, and this community has welcomed me with open arms. My mission is simple, to help you get to where you're going quickly and safely. Whether it's helping you beat the slowdown on 270 or giving you detours around major construction. We've got you covered, because when your morning's on the move, so are we. Make the move to 10 TV News this morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turn skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville, or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
What does it mean to give 100%? It means giving everything you've got, every single day. That's why the V Foundation gives 100% of every dollar donated directly to cancer research. So no matter what you give, we give 100% for life-saving research victories, 100% to making new discoveries that lead to innovative treatments, 100% to groundbreaking cancer research that could one day save someone you love. We know cancer research is working. Over the last 30 years, an estimated 4.5 million lives have been saved thanks to game-changing research breakthroughs. But there is more work to do. That's why the V Foundation gives 100% of every dollar donated directly to cancer research. We will always give 100% to accelerate victory over cancer.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Donate today at v.org.
Attack and dominate. You're locked into Morning Juice.
Sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin.
Here's Bobby and Tito.
All right, Morning Juice. I don't know if he's lost his hats or if he's been told by doctors don't wear hats anymore. I'm not sure on that, but he's got a new look. Here he is.
A guy who considers himself the mayor of Laramie, Wyoming, who holds the shuffleboard record at the Ranger, and most impressive, the commissioner of the Central Ohio Two-Man Scramble League. Here's Austin Ward.
Austin Ward joins us. Letterman Row. He also is one half of The Beat with Austin and Berm. Catch that podcast anywhere you get your audio. And Austin, we'll start with this. What surprised you at the spring game?
Well, first of all, just trying to keep you on your toes, Tito. Give you something to, just look at and analyze every single week with my appearance. But what surprised me was that they got the full game in on Saturday. I know that sounds kind of silly because I know you wanted to talk about the way that the team played and the individuals that flashed more than anything else. But I was surprised because I think Ohio State wanted to get in a half of football and then avoid the weather. And instead they got in a full game, which, so many of those new faces. And I know that we've beaten the 51 new players number into the ground over the last 2 months. But, those guys wanted to squeeze out a few more reps before they went into summer. And Ryan Day wanted to get them as many as possible. I think that they would have been okay if they had just played half of that game because so much of the significant work, and the hay had already been in the barn through those first 14 practices. And, but you think about Tavian St. Clair getting as much work as he did, or Favor Aki, like different scenarios. Cam Calhoun, a first time in the horseshoe. Those things are significant to carry over into the summer. How are they deal breakers? No, which is why they would have accepted it if they had to cut that game short, but it didn't have to. You got some good special teams work in the elements. Not all of it, I think, would thrill Ryan Day because they missed another field goal, which they would have wanted Connor Hawkins to have a perfect day so they could all feel good about that. But I think we can get into the finer details from there. But when I left Saturday, I was mostly surprised that they got the full game in. And then I was surprised that someone tried to, take some bleachers up through the players' tunnel on a forklift when it didn't fit through there, and nearly destroyed a banner and almost killed me and Berm.
That's
before
awesome.
we were done with snap judgments.
That is awesome.
That wasn't how I felt. It didn't feel awesome.
Oh no, it's exciting. What a rush, Getting
Yeah,
some heavy equipment
it
moving
was.
around there, some machinery, feeling good about life.
The clip, Tyler did share that, Ace digital specialist at 97.1 The Fan and 10 TV, because it's like, hey, you guys, this is kind of funny. And I was like, I didn't feel that way in the moment. We did share it with everyone, and it'll live forever on Snap Judgments. But I was more confused than anything when I watched the guy backing up through the tunnel with the bleachers on the end of the forklift, and then the sound of it falling off of the forklift and thankfully wedging itself into the concrete banister railing and ripping the D on the Honor Defend banner. Hopefully that saved my life.
That's great. Are you ready to name Tavian St. Clair the starter?
No, and
I thought that's what I was seeing. There's a controversy now. I watched him throw that touchdown pass, and everybody now is on board with him being the guy, right? That's the buzz in Buckeye Nation.
I guess it depends on what you mean by everybody, Bob, because I don't know anybody in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center that's doing that. And that's, not to say that Tavian St. Clair has done anything wrong. He had a very good spring. I understand why people are impressed with the physical skills, the deep ball, the touch, the ability to extend plays, the size, all those things. You check every box. That's why he was a 5-star recruit. He's not a finished product. There's a lot of ways that he can improve. I think it's still about the speed of the game for him. Some of the decision making, getting the ball out quickly, making sure it's going to the right spot. That part is not done. And I don't even feel like it's all that reasonable to expect that it would be done, given it's 14, 15 months since he was playing high school football at Bell Fountain, to try and go out there and then be, ready to compete on the highest stage for a national title contender. I don't think he is. He's a lot closer to that point than he was in September of last year. Probably a lot closer, I'd say, than he was in March. He had a very good camp. But there is no uncertainty about who Ohio State's starting quarterback is. It's the returning Heisman Trophy finalist. And I don't know why that would be all that controversial to anybody. But there's, Bob, and you know this, there's just not any question about, Tavian St. Clair had to compete and solidify himself as the backup ahead of Justin Martin. He absolutely did that. But there's not any question in the Woody about who the quarterback is for this team.
What do you think is why the reason that people are enamored? Obviously you see the physical attributes and skills. I feel like it's more about Julian Sayin and their displeasure with him in some reason. And I say they, I mean the Buckeye social media feed.
Now, to be honest with you, I don't spend a lot of time on social media these days.
You should try.
I
Spend
do
a little more.
No.
Get miserable. Get in there and get miserable. Let's mix it up.
I actually feel so much better that I don't spend that time now.
But
I know what you're talking.
But you're not as angry though, Austin. The anger is what fuels you.
Yeah, I'll consider it, but I do spend. I mean, Berm and I also work at Letterman Row, and we've got a message board on there. So I talk with a lot of highly engaged online Ohio State fans on a daily basis. So I know what you're talking about. There's been amongst some segment of the fan base, I don't know what the percentage would be on that, that isn't fully sold on Julian Sayin, and I think a lot of that is because of the last 2 games of the season. There are people that wanted him to run more before the Indiana game, before the Miami game. There are people who look at him physically and don't see an NFL prototype. They don't see someone who is built like Cam Newton or built like Tavian St. Clair. And I understand that. I think there's what I don't understand is thinking that Ohio State is going to move on from someone with all of the really high level stuff that Julian Sayin does, the body of work that he has, he's getting better as well. I kind of joked with Berm. Well, I don't know if I was joking or not. He was standing at the podium, flashback to more post game on Saturday, Bob.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was standing next to, like, pretty much even with Julian. I was over to his right, over by where Will Pantages was standing, where Jerry Emig used to at that microphone. And I was like, is he taller? He looks taller. And maybe it was just the angle of the microphone.
He's wearing cleats still, right?
He was wearing cleats. Yes, he was wearing cleats. But I see him in cleats a lot. And just the same way that a lot of people ask him about the running stuff, I'm kind of a simpleton when it comes to, hey, are you taller now? Because every time I see him, it feels like he is. And he's like, first he was kind of like, can you stop asking me that? And I was like, no. But he's like, well, I'm almost 6'2" now. And I was like, okay.
Developed here. You grow at Ohio State as well.
He is also still a young man that is growing, maybe not taller, although it looks like it, but he's definitely growing stronger. And I think when you're in there with Mickey Marotti and Schlegs, you have no choice but to do that. He's got 4 more months of that to go. But, that's – I think I see that. I hear it, Bob. He did lose the last 2 games, and there were plays that Julian Sayin could have made.
I mean, I think Ohio State lost the last 2 games. I don't know if I would just say
100%.
Julian lost them.
No. I wasn't trying to say that.
Okay.
You know this, Bob. It wasn't just the offensive line. It wasn't just the quarterback. It wasn't just the running backs. And I think the game plan in those games wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I am not trying to single out Julian Sayin, but I was speculating on what you're talking about. Like, why are there people that are out on him? And I think that there are some folks who are gonna look at the quarterback first and foremost anytime Ohio State loses, and some of those people will point the finger. I don't think that that's where it belongs. And I certainly don't think that replacing him with Tavian St. Clair would be beneficial for Ohio State, given that it goes to play in week 2 at Texas.
Austin, I have a theory here, not regarding Ohio State, but it's been a long time since I've set foot in a post office. I don't know if wanted posters still exist or hung on the wall like they used to be. And I'm thinking maybe you're not wearing the hat because you're on a wanted poster wearing the hat. And if that's the case, I'm just letting you know I would shave the beard first. That might be instead of the hat thing, the beard, get rid of the facial hair. That would make you less recognizable. Just a tip there on that one for you. Someone who's been wanted by the law before. Is there anything
thank you.
that you gleaned from the special teams in the spring game?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Joe McGuire put on a punting show. That's another guy who, has taken his fair share of criticism a year ago. I don't believe even then that it was entirely warranted, that he didn't have enough hang time. He didn't have enough, he didn't have a strong enough leg for Ohio State, and 42 yards net punting is not good enough. It was exactly what Ohio State wanted. It was not something that had them concerned. And also, Bob and I have had some conversations with a former Ohio State specialist, Brad Robinson, who will do the Rooster Show with us occasionally, where it's like, well, I think there could be an explanation that Ohio State really wants the football off of his foot as quickly as possible. They were trying to mitigate risk. They were not trying to be overly aggressive on special teams. So that wasn't just last year. That's been a philosophy for a number of years. And it was like, if you gave him a chance to really step into it, yes, Joe McGuire has the strength in his leg to boom it. I think he showed that on Saturday. I don't know if it's just a big philosophical shift from Robbie Disher or what. Maybe it's just another year, another level of experience. Whatever it is, I thought he punted the ball very well, which is why Ohio State didn't feel the need to go into the transfer portal to bring in somebody to replace him. And he's done a good job maintaining that job. I think Connor Hawkins, kicking field goals, you would have liked to see him make every one. I don't know that the weather wasn't perfect for that, but there's probably going to be bad weather in November in the Big Ten. I won't make any sweeping judgments on that. I know he also dealt with an injury throughout spring camp, so I don't know, on the scale if he was at 100% or not for those kicks. Not that that makes any difference or will make anybody feel any better. He hit a couple big kicks in the Student Appreciation Day scrimmage. I think he had, when he was healthy, a spring that Ohio State felt good about. And he's also got it on film that he can make kicks in big settings as well, based on what he did at Baylor early in his career. So it sounds kind of silly to leave the spring game thinking anything about the special teams where it's not fully live, it's not full go. But, Joe McGuire showed that he can boot a ball as far as it needs to be booted.
Austin, appreciate the time. Thanks so much as always, bud. Appreciate that. We will talk to you again next week, maybe with a hat, maybe with facial hair. We'll find out. It's a mystery of the mind right there.
I love keeping you on your toes. See you guys.
There's Austin Ward. He is with Letterman Row and one half of The Beat with Austin and Berm. Catch him wherever you get all your podcasts. Coming up next, could Jake Dealer be getting a key piece back for next year? We'll tell you who that is. And also let you know it's Gas Juice, Morning Juice.
I'm Meredith Garfalo, meteorologist at 10 TV News This Morning, and I'm an Ohio girl. I love golf, aerospace, and all things Ohio sports. For nearly 20 years, I've studied the patterns that shape our days, from winter wonders on the south side to dangerous storms along the I-71 corridor. When the weather changes, you'll be the first to know, because you need a forecast that moves as fast as you do. Make the move to 10 TV News This Morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
Once there was a man who couldn't stand.
A mom who couldn't wait.
A scientific community that said it couldn't be done.
And then you.
And then I.
And then we.
Brought neuromuscular disease into screaming color with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
For 75 years, our voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
We've willed the impossible into existence.
We've pushed the science,
raised the funds,
shifted the narrative,
and transformed the reality of life with neuromuscular diseases.
For 75 years, we've built communities together,
established the field of neuromuscular medicine,
and made it thrive.
Call that a legacy.
Call it impact.
Call it momentum.
Just call it ours.
Because it's the generations of community heroes that give MDA the strength we have today.
And until neuromuscular disease is a thing of the past, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
Maybe it was a family vacation or a school field trip. But there you were, standing in awe at a national park. We are the National Park Foundation, and together with you, we're creating a future where every person, every generation, gets their chance at an unforgettable moment. Today, tomorrow, forever. Learn more at nationalparks.org/foundation.
Tito invited the new Russian family who moved in down the street to watch Rocky IV. It did not go well. This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice, final segment of the program. Thank you, Austin Ward, for joining us there on the Bryant Heating and Cooling System fan guest video, I guess.
Fan guest video. Do you need a bank that truly values local business in this town, the opportunity to work alongside them as partners? Whether you're a small business or a large operation, Riverside Bank of Dublin has the right tools for the job. Riverside Bank of Dublin has the experience of working right here in Central Ohio. They understand the business climate in our area. They're going to help you reach your goals. So whether it's an SBA loan to get your business off the ground, a line of credit to keep your business running smoothly, or equipment financing to get your business up to scale, Riverside Bank will tailor a solution that fits your needs. Visit them at riverside.bank or stop in to get to know them at 6300 France Road. Riverside Bank of Dublin, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Christoph Tilley scored 11 points a game last year for Ohio State. The big man who came over from Santa Clara, played 3 years there, and then the 1 year at Ohio State, is, as we speak today, out of eligibility. He's played at least 26 games in each of his 4 seasons, and he is hoping for, as are some other players too across the country, for that the NCAA will change the rule. The rule will be changed where you can have a 5th year of eligibility. And if that's the case, he entered the transfer portal just because to make it official that he's not giving up yet, but he could still return to Ohio State. Bob, that would be a huge addition for this team. I know that Ohio State's added a couple of bigs already, and but someone like Tilley with his experience, so I thought that he had moments last year where he looked really good, was a very important piece of this offense.
I think he was good. 11 points.
Yeah.
You would like a little more rim protection, maybe a guy that's a little more physical or a back-to-the-basket player. That's not really him. You knew that when you got him. He gave you a little more presence on the glass, but he gave you 10 points, 11 points in the paint, which I think is kind of what you signed up for.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's what you really needed last year. You're right. The little more rim protection would be nice, but you didn't need a dynamic scorer down low or something like that because what you have with Mobley and Thornton and Bynum last year as well. But yes, certainly though, he's somebody though, if they could get him back, that would be significant for this team. I like what they've done in the transfer portal so far. I think Jardy's kind of echoed that as well. It's been a fruitful transfer portal to this point for Ohio State, but getting him in there, the portal closed yesterday, so he had to enter the portal before it closed. But the fact he did that, and he's holding out hope maybe for a 5th season. But yes, that would be.
He tried suing the NCAA in Ohio.
That's what he should do.
Tell him he's going to Ohio State.
I think.
So
find a friendly judge.
That 5 for 5 rule, I mean, is that
$5 footlongs?
Oh, yeah. Well, 5 for 5 at Arby's, too.
That was the best. R.I.P.
I mean, that would be something that he would need to be passed pretty soon. Right?
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to retroactively put that in place for guys who have finished
I thought I had heard or read the plan was to grandfather people in. So, if you've
I don't know if I'm really a grandfather yet. Do I get my 5th year?
Mommy. But yeah, sure, why not? That'd be awesome.
I want my 5 for 5.
But so yeah, I would imagine he would need that soon though, and since he's played 4 years,
right?
I think 3 at Santa Clara, right?
Yeah, 3 and at least 26 games in each of the 4 years, which is the other.
Yes, he is exhausted his eligibility in a
normal. No, they said
world,
he had a cold 1 year his freshman, his sophomore year.
His cousin's goldfish died, so he also had to take leave of that because
I think he went overseas for Luca's girlfriend's childbirth. So maybe that'll also get him some leeway there.
But yeah, I mean, he was an easy target for Buckeye fans last year, and for some games, understandably so.
Yeah.
And he's not Jared Solinger or EJ Liddell, but you could do much worse, certainly. And
because I don't think they paid him to be like that either. So it's a little bit of compensation. I think that's what they had an idea of what they were getting. They paid for it, and boom, they got that production.
And if the Kentucky kid can come in and kind of be your second best big there, that could be a decent 1-2 punch there at the front line. So
I like it.
Jeff Rimmer's middle half said he grew 2 inches in college. Height, he grew 2 inches in height in college.
Just making sure.
And all I'm saying is, I don't know.
Scottie Pippen grew like 4.
You can't. In height in college.
Yeah, maybe 5.
Anyway,
he was at the Buckeyes spring game.
He was. Yeah.
You would have watched it. You would have seen him.
I knew he was there. I saw a picture of it. He was. I think he might have been talking to. Was he talking to Jardy?
He's talking to Matt Patricia.
He was on the sideline talking to a reporter. I don't know what it was. Anyway,
Diebler, everybody.
The Deebs.
Anyway, what I was going to get to, though, on that was if Ohio State...
Debo asked how his wife was doing. Ex-wife.
They need to lean in.
Funny you ask. You remember Michael?
That Ohio State, if you come to Ohio State, you will get taller. I think that's a
developed
Maradi
here.
thing. Yes.
Developed
The
here.
fact that if
I was trying to tell Austin,
yes,
developed here.
If you can,
by Maradi.
It doesn't have to be true. Just put it out there somewhere as like a rumor that Ohio State's being investigated because of height enhancement. That might be against the rules. I'm not going to vacate wins. I'm just saying, though, I think that's a great recruiting pitch. And I did say saying.
Well, they take extends, and that helps them. That helps their length.
I'm not sure if that's the same thing or not, but
it's in the vitamin packet they get.
Is that Jimmy Johnson commercial?
Yeah. It's won 2 Super Bowls and a national championship.
Kind of 2.5 too.
Yeah. If Doug
that was
Flutie
his team
and Frank Thomas show up at your door and they were sent by somebody, you've got problems somewhere. Let's tell people what's got us juiced.
What's got you juiced?
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, it's either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Let's play like it's Wednesday, Bob, and why don't you start us off there?
Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Well, it's Wednesday, which means I go first.
Sometimes I tell the day by the bottle that I drank.
Yes.
Often I'm alone, and all I do is think. I enjoy that, Bodie. Good job out of you. Gosh, the amount of thrown stuff that pops into my feed now because I've been sending things to you, and I try to curate it so that you can't see anything that will reveal anything that would be a spoiler alert.
I appreciate that.
And I do some of the stuff that they send. I appreciate the folks that actually follow the Game of Thrones not official page. I've done it for like 10 years. And they'll have some of those like spoiler alert. It's the 15-year anniversary. So like, why not hop on in? You were ahead of the game, Bodie. Like a lot of people are just starting now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably jump back in and start watching that. I'm done with classes here. I'm so pumped. It's the last day. It's presentation day. I almost have one whole class of done with grades. Just have to throw their presentation and then we'll have the exam. So I'm pumped with that. I've got 2 more to go. I want to try to get them done by Friday. So I'm on top of it. And it's really, like, you put in participation, different things. It's really just me punching into my keyboard. There's not a lot of thought. Like, I had to grade their their cases that they put in, but that takes like probably an hour reading through. That's why I cap it at two pages a piece, roll through it, kind of compare them all against each other, and do that. But it's the inputting of the numbers. I feel like it's just an accountant. I could show you this spreadsheet, Bodie, with just all of the numbers that are on there, just me typing in them over and over for 50 students on like 30 things. And then if you get one off, and I'm like, wait a second. I should have 10 students left, not 9. Where did I do one twice? Oh, it's awful. Awful. So you got to go solve all that. So I will be juiced when I'm done with that. That'll be this weekend. Heading. So I want to get that done before I have to leave Saturday for the draft, which will be fun in Pittsburgh. And then last night, my daughter plays goalie. She's backup goalie for Arlington. They played Olentangy Orange last night. And a little bit of a slow start to the game, but she ended up getting in. They got up by 10, 11 goals, and so she got in. And usually when she gets in, when you're beating a team like that, you don't get a lot of shots on you because the reason why you're up by so much is the fact that they're not shooting much and you are. But they did get a number of shots on her, and she had a number of really nice saves. And so that was fun to watch. It was good to see. They ended up, I don't know, winning 16-3 or something like that. Yeah,
the route. When
she went in, they were up like 12-1. And so they scored a couple. She got up 2 penalty shots, like 8 meters, which is basically, it's almost like PKs in soccer. If you stop like 20% of them, you're doing a pretty darn good job. So she had a couple of those go in, but had some awesome saves. And it was fun to watch. It's the first time I've got to see her in varsity action where she actually got a number of shots on her. And as a goalie parent, it's always interesting. Like, you want a little bit of action for your kid, but not too much. Like, I want to see him go in there. I want to see him play. I don't want to see him just stand there. But you want to see him do well. Yeah. So let's get the shots if you're going to do well. So that was a lot of fun. And really enjoyed that. And then I got back, hammered out some more grading before ultimately going to bed last night. I watched this old Law & Order. Maybe that was 2 nights ago that my wife put on. That was from back in the day, like when my wife and I were like dating. Maybe I was even at home with my parents. And it was an unbelievable plot twist where two women had met.
They
both
killed each
bought
other's husbands?
30. Yes, they both bought 38 specials and murdered each other's husbands.
Tito.
They caught one of them.
Hold on, time out.
Oh,
we give Tito a lot of crap for not watching shows and movies.
I know he watched this crap. It's like my
African
parents.
American woman and a white woman.
Yes.
And they killed each other's spouses.
The one lady was really rich.
Wow.
The other woman,
Spoiler alert.
she wanted just all her husband's money. The other lady who was cheating on her, they met. She used to go to her bodega every day, and boom, they did it. They convicted the one, and you know
Jerry
what happened?
Underwood wrote a song about
Well,
that.
and she rolled on the other, which is what happened.
Aw.
Well, listen,
Come on.
here's just the perfect crime. Two people have airtight alibis, cross-killing each other's husbands. What would their motive be? He goes, well, that was also the problem, is there's no loyalty among thieves. And there you go. It was fun to watch.
Stole the chandelier. Perfect crime.
Exactly. I love the fact that I've noticed. It's one of the more, as soon as I started watching, I was like, I remember how this one ends. It was a good one.
But you get older, Bobby, like me, though. The memory starts to go a little bit. They're like new.
But not
They're new
oh,
again.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
so
great.
you see what's like, wait, I know I've
never
seen this
seen
one.
this.
But I
Oh.
can't remember how it ends.
Oh, yeah. I remembered a lot because I was young when I saw them, so they were very impactful. And it was a big deal because they didn't come on till 9 o'clock. And I remember being in fourth grade when my parents would let me stay up on like a Wednesday night to watch them until 10, like fourth or fifth, when I started getting to be like older and like middle schoolish, probably fifth, sixth, actually. And so getting to do that. So that was a lot of fun seeing that as well. And like I said, just excited for the presentations today and wrapping up our class. So Buckeyes, get all that taken care of. Bodie, what has Schleg's juiced?
I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, my computer just reset, and I just got logged back into Zeta. But
why don't you just tell us what's got you juiced?
Yeah, I can definitely do that, Bob. Let me log off here and try to fire it again. What has me juiced, though? Besides the computer reset, of course. Bob, I will say, Emily in the chat said goalie parents deserve free alcohol at games. I don't know if they're giving out alcohol.
Sometimes it's
period,
BYOB. Tuesday night's a little aggressive.
There you go. Got to start at some point.
More like Saturday at 10 a.m. That's when you like to get going.
Got a couple things that have me juiced or not juiced today. A little tired. Went to bed a little late last night due to the Celtics game and was super not juiced about the way they performed last night. Couldn't throw the ball in the ocean, and Philadelphia couldn't miss. But we're all tied up 1-1 as we head to Philly on
now it's a series.
Friday night. So we'll see how that goes there. The Celtics in game twos over the last few years is just to say it's their kryptonite would be an overstatement. But super juiced. Here we go, boys. 36 hours, 8 minutes, 19 seconds and counting until the NFL draft. And that definitely has me juiced. Very excited to watch tomorrow night. Going to be a few nights this week where lack of sleep is going to be a problem. Going to be a little tired on Friday, but we'll get home, get a nap there. Was juiced about the weather, kind of cranking back up a little bit yesterday. Kind of been snip-snapping in my apartment. Turned on the AC, turned on the heat, kind of turned everything off yesterday because it got pretty warm last night. But was juiced about it because after Sunday and Monday, I was like, man, I'm ready for the bitter cold to be done. So, Tito.
Yep.
I'm going to log in because I also, not only do we need to try to hear from Schlegs, I came across a great Bill Parcells little snippet. That I wanted to play. Now we can play
Is
it
this
tomorrow.
the quarterbacks one?
Yes.
I don't know.
So
I feel like me sending you stuff has transferred my algorithm to you. I watched that the last night in bed.
Game of Thrones and the Cowboys. All right, we're going to try one more time.
I'm freaking attacking and
There we go. All right, here we go, Schlegs.
I'm freaking attacking and dominating. You know what I mean? Everything. Business, training, being a husband. Again, dudette, lifestyle. Go Bucks, be cancer.
The standard is the standard. Anthony Schlegel and a bunch of other coaches. All right, I saw this on Twitter yesterday from Babe Laufenberg, who I believe played for Dallas and then still works in the media down there, if I'm not mistaken. But this was Bill Parcells probably 20 years ago, give or take. Asked about, this time of year, everybody, you got to say you got to have a quarterback, right?
You know what I like about the media? I really do. This is funny. They think you can just dial 1-800 and get a quarterback. There's teams have been trying to dial it for 10 years. They think you can just dial it up. You think we don't look around? You think you say, well, you got to get a quarterback. No shit.
10 years.
It's
I think
true.
there's a few franchises, maybe one of the ones up in the northeastern region of our state here who been longer than 10 years. But Tito,
yeah,
all that has me juiced on this Wednesday, sir. What has you juiced?
Let's see. Not juice the grave. It was a weird day yesterday with the birthday of my mother who recently passed last month, and just reconnecting, talking to my sister about it, and my brother. We all kind of we spent some time on social media, like messaging each other, but also talking to each other on the phone about it, and just how kind of weird for us to all have our the first time it's my mom's birthday that she's not around, and so we kind of it was like put it was nice to talk to my siblings. I wish just reminisce a little bit. That was nice, and then also I came across this thing, Bob. This happened a long time ago. It was I don't know which draft it was. It might have been a draft in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a player named Anthony Smith. I don't know if that name sounds familiar at all, Bob.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't say the most uncommon name.
Right. He was
went by Tony.
He was a first-round pick by the Raiders back when. And I remember when he was a first-round pick, and it was I think Paul Zimmerman, Sports Illustrated at the time, talking about it, how this guy overcame so much in his childhood. He was in a car. He stole a car when he was 9 with 2 of his friends. They got in an accident, and the other 2 kids died.
Ooh.
And then also the fact he was like a drug dealer at 11 or 12 or something like that. And it turned his life around, and went to Alabama. And it was like this great story about this guy who overcame all these things to be a first-round draft pick in the NFL. He's currently serving life in prison. Now the story came out.
3 murders.
Yes, it's if you read the story.
Said Aaron Hernandez, hold my beer.
Yeah, the story I read was from GQ.
Oh.
If that's one you've got, I'll send you a link to it if you want to read it. But it is fascinating everything that went through that, and the 3
Oh
murders.
my gosh, murder with the special circumstance of torture.
Yes, Bob, and this guy was someone that said,
Ramsey.
He's this.
He got an extension too, like.
Yeah.
Tim Brown, Notre Dame, who praised his work ethic and dedication.
He set fire to like a consignment shop, furniture store, something along those lines, where and
he had 10.5 sacks as a rookie. The Bengals would have drafted him tomorrow. They would have traded for him today.
The evidence they had on the fire that he said, he had been in there earlier.
3 double-digit sack seasons, his first 3. If any of the Bengals picks had those, they would have justified all that.
He accused the consignment shop of damaging the furniture he had on hold there or whatever, and then shorting of money. Okay, and he stormed out of there.
We talk about how he's buying furniture at a consignment shop when he's coaching and playing in the NFL.
But then this thing was after that. But then he goes, the place gets like bombed. Somebody throws like these fire bombs into it when they're closed.
Molotov cocktails.
Yes. And the evidence they had was in the dumpster, there were old pieces of mail addressed to him and magazines and stuff.
You got to use that for the killing.
And he said his offense was that, hey, somebody stole my mail. That's what it was. This is what he said. He said he'd hired furniture movers to go over there to grab the stuff back from them. Mm-hmm. And he asked them to take his mail and throw it in the dumpster there to get rid of it. What it was. That was his anyway. But now, yes, he's in prison. But all this stuff, he was like this great guy, overcame all this stuff. Turns out some of those stories about him were lies when he was younger. Like, I don't think he ever was a drug dealer. He didn't get beaten by his stepbrother or stepfather. That was a big thing they played up.
Based upon the fact that he murdered some people, I think that maybe those would be true. They'd give more credence to it.
Yes. So anyway, it's a fascinating read. Like I say, the article in GQ it's 13 years old, but it was a fascinating read. So anyway, that's it for us today. Thank you to Austin Ward for joining us. A big day tomorrow. We'll have, we'll talk Albert Breer. We'll talk the NFL draft. So it's Your Highness. It's a Brody Thursday.